Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, not good night, and goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Good, welcome everybody to It's Only Talk and Roll. Great, Jerry Lee Lewis is still with us. Can you believe that? After all these years, we've lost Elvis, we lost Carl Perkins, we lost Little Richard, we've lost Johnny Cash, but Jerry Lee Lewis is still going. Possibly to do with his cousin Jimmy Swagger. I don't know. Maybe he's putting a good word for him. But yeah, welcome to the show. It's edition number 2 of It's Only Talk and Roll. Hopefully a few people will be flooding in soon to watch. I certainly got my friend Stream Elements in the chat, so so someone's watching us. But I hope more are joining because I have a very, very, very special guest today. One of my main YouTube inspirations, a guy whose channel is one of the first ones I really, really heavily got into. And I'm so pleased to have with me the wonderful Mr. Nick Weiser of 32 Flavours of NickWeiser.
Holy
Hello,
crap.
sir.
Hi, dude. That is crazy talk, man. I mean, thank you, but that's just crazy talk.
Not crazy at all, my friend. You're a major source of inspiration to me, and I've been
thank you.
Exceptionally pleased to have got to know you, and thank you for being my first special guest on the show.
Oh, dude, that's it. I don't know about that, but dude, I mean, we're more than just guests, man. I mean, at this point, I'd say we're friends that are just from a big distance away. I mean, basically we drank together on streams. We've been loud, we've been rowdy. Like this has been fun. So it is absolutely awesome to be here chatting with you. It's gonna be nice to have a little small talk conversation.
Yeah, and it's you're like a brother from another mother, as they say.
Oh,
and I did ask my mother, but she didn't remember you, so it's obviously another mother. But so just before I go any further, I must play this extra special clip.
As I suspected, 32 flavors.
There you go. Thank you for sending that to me. I'd already clipped it out of one of your videos, but that was better quality. So.
No, it's all good, man. All good.
So how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's regular Monday. Had a great weekend. Girlfriend and I actually had a date night. We went to an awesome restaurant, drank some fancy, expensive drinks, saw a movie, and then earlier today I did a stream with Sir Talks Law where we talked music for about an hour, and that was awesome. So now it's awesome to now be here with you doing this. And yeah, we're up as soon as this is done. I know I got some that's coming up as well, and I got yelling at park cars, of course, tonight with Comics Division and the Dicks Division. So that's gonna be great. So it's
indeed.
Good time to be on the YouTube world. It's nice to see your channel is going up too. I love that you're almost at 300, man.
I know, 296 last time I looked, and that's like even in the last day it's gone up by 10 or so. So I'm creating accounts as fast as I can to subscribe to myself. Just kidding, Susan. You've got. I'm surprised your girlfriend actually remembers who you are, given you're on YouTube so much.
Oh, dude, yeah. Well, it helped. Yeah. Trust me, like if we had not been living together at this point, there's definitely a lot been coming into question about if I ever see her. But no, I mean. Somehow I just squeeze in the time. I'm not even on here like Tom Connors or Culture Casino style, but I'm on here a fairly good amount, and I'd like to be on here more. I want to get around more. It's then all in due time. It's like I've been slowly kind of climbing up the ranks. It's been a nice steady because I'm not like some overnight like sensation that just blew up out of nowhere. It's been like a slow, steady build there, and it's nice. So it feels organic and. I've always called it like the Slayer way. Like I look at a band like Slayer and you see their career and how they go is like they ascended to these heights that they did, but they didn't have this path where they were just big right away. It took a time. They established a fan base, but they stuck with the fan base. They stuck to their sound. They stuck to their guns. And over time, they maintained loyalty. And with the loyalty, they carry that loyalty with them all the way to the very end. And that's what I'm about. It ain't about being the biggest. It's about having a loyal base. And anytime I get a chance to have, bring the flavors to unknown people around the world, it's a victory, especially
Cool,
when
yeah.
you get new people picked up from like Midnight's Edge or Comics Division. It's always an honor.
Yeah, and that's why I say I kind of look up to you and follow your path, because you've built your channel very organically and
Mm-hmm.
with a variety of content. I mean, I like the music stuff, I like the movie stuff, I like the food stuff. It's great, and some people like to specialize in just that one thing, and
Oh
I
yeah.
prefer more your approach, which is, I'm into more of them. You're a person of multiple tastes. I'm into multiple things, and let's talk about that, and then, of course, you've done the fantastic Toxic Tuesdays, which we'll get into a little bit in a while. And you've really got that breadth of stuff and done it organically. I'm like me, I don't really push myself hard. I'm not on social media other than mine's. It's about organic growth, making friends, bringing people in, and people are coming in because they like your stuff, not just because everybody else is subscribed. Like we ain't PewDiePie here or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of path I've tried to follow. Just like say hello to a few people that have joined the chat. Some wonderful people, and Shellback.
Yes.
I mean, Shellback, my buddy, top man. What is this? Did I accidentally turn on the BBC or the CBC? Well, I am broadcasting from behind the maple curtain in the Tim Hortons archipelago, in the gulag of the People's Republic of Kazakhstan. That is true. But I'm still able to reach out to the real world like Nick. So we also have our very good friend Low Spec Linux Laptop. Thank you for joining. We have the wonderful YetiCast, who's also a very special guest anytime he's on. This is only my second show, so YetiCast himself will be an extra special guest some week. Soul Assassin, always remember your first. Well, that's such a long time ago, Soul Assassin. I can't remember that. Christian Delarm, pleasure to see you, Christian. And the very wonderful Mr. I can't even do Australian accent anymore. Mr. Grant Gregory, all the way from the bottom half of the flat earth. Mr. Gregory, dodging the killer spider babies as we speak. 32 and 70, yes. Well, it gives us 102, which is about my age. So there we go. We got Carol's Cookies. Good to see you, Carol. The lovely Sherry. Nice to see you, Sherry. It's always good to see you. And some guy called 32 Flavours of NickWeiser. Don't know who he is, but he's here too. So yeah, and others. Thanks for joining, everybody. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about a few bits and pieces, some of which are related to your wonderful channel, sir, and others are more news oriented. And here's just before we talk about some of the stuff that I love about what you do. Today I was listening to various reports on our good friends at the BBC, the British Blathering Corporation. Being a Brit, although I don't live there anymore, I always used to resent paying the license fee, and many of people in North America don't know what that is, but basically it's a tax for being British to pay for the British Broadcasting Corporation. So they take this, they charge you this money every year, and whether you watch television or not, whether you watch the BBC or not. And they were very sneaky about it, because they said, well, if you own a television receiver, a TV, then you have to pay this tax. So you have to pay this license fee, and they could come to your door and break it down and hit you with their rubber truncheons and make you pay this. So there's been a debate for many, many years about whether this should remain in place or not. But it looks like, despite the ineptitude of good old Boris there and the current British government, the Conservatives there, are talking about scrapping this thing.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, have you known much about this over the years, Nick? Have you heard about this license fee?
I've known about it. I've never looked deep into anything about it. I've just known about it, I guess you could say, at face value. And I just thought, wow, that's kind of dumb. So if this is something that follows through, I mean,
yeah,
the fact that people have to have the BBC and that their money funds this thing is just crazy. Like, yeah. This could be one of the better news pieces to have come out recently. Which I'm still in surprise that it's happening, because I almost don't feel like it's real. I'm used to like hearing things getting worse somehow. So it's nice. I love it. This is hopefully something that we'll say, okay, you know what, the BBC needs to shape up. Which will they? I don't know, because we all know like everything else nowadays, that besides everything woke turning to shit, everything woke knows how to double down till the very end, till it dies. And I honestly thought we're gonna get to a period where the people are gonna be shelling out their money to the BBC till it went down in flames
Yeah,
with their ideology intact.
well, that's a good point about the ideology, because over the years, I've argued about this with people in Britain when I used to live there, even now when I go back about this. And they said, well, first of all, I don't mind paying so much every year because there's no adverts on the BBC. Well, strictly speaking, that's true. I mean, there's no commercially placed adverts, although certain corporations have managed to worm their way into getting messaging on there. But there are adverts because the BBC advertises itself. So, yes, they're not in the middle of the show, but there's large swathes of time are spent with them promoting their own product. The second thing they used to say was, we should be funding the BBC because then it's publicly owned and it serves the people of Britain, and it will be impartial and not able to be purchased in its opinions, particularly for news. Well, that's bullshit for starters. You know, I mean, come on. Maybe in the 1930s that was true. I don't know, but because the level of the BBC is firmly, very clearly not. It's as partisan as it could be, and part of the giveaways for that is that, first of all, it hires amongst the output of the elite universities, establishment universities. And secondly, its job adverts are all in, looks like the Guardian or the Guardian. It used to be famous for its misspellings as a newspaper. The Guardian. So obviously it's aiming for the more progressive, liberal, ultra-liberal end in its hiring practices. So as we've seen in the last 10 years, particularly, I mean, it always was biased, but the last 10 years it's just gone crazy. So, and plus what it's doing to shows like Doctor Who. So the impartial advert for me was out the window a long time ago. And then it's just the coercion part of it. As the minister in charge here says, you know, elderly people could have a knock on their door, some van outside with an antenna on the top saying, "You're watching television, you haven't paid your license fee," you know.
This thing needs to go, and I mean, will a replacement come around? I mean, maybe. I think people out in that area, they need to not have an immediate replacement, because the only way this stuff falls apart is we let it rot, and having that fee removed, this thing needs to go down. And if it's meant to come back and have a fresh face where everything's all good and dandy again, time will be the deciding factor there. Maybe something someday will come around and replace it. But this is once again why I'm glad I saved up on physical media over the years. Like if I were if I were out there, you know, in that country, like, oh, I got all physical media carrying me over for years. Like, I don't need this. If I were there right now in this very day, I would be relying on this source for entertainment per se, if you want to call it that.
Well, the other thing about the BBC license fee over the years was that in many years ago in Britain, there was very few channels to watch. It's not like North America where you had maybe 30, 40 channels, even in the old broadcast days, depending on which city you were in, obviously. But in Britain, you had 2 or 3 channels, that was it. So there was some argument to be made that, okay, well, you know, this way you're going to be guaranteed some content or some output. And indeed, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, there was a lot of great shows on the BBC and it did a lot of wonderful things. But in this current day and age with the internet and streaming services, that argument's gone out the window too. But really, why should there be such a thing as a state-run broadcaster? You have a state-run broadcaster.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Propaganda. That's all you're going to get.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, depending on who's got a grip of it. So I was encouraged by the comments of the minister in this respect, in that the days of state-run television are over. And that's very true. Now, the Canadian model, with the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, they sorry, did I say that out loud? The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, they have a slightly different model in that there's no license fee, but it's still subsidised from taxes. Yeah, they've got adverts, commercial adverts on there, but they get a lot of tax subsidies, and the large amount, especially from the current regime in Canada, because they are expecting favourable propaganda in return, and their output is also wokeified as a result. So, the CBC is pretty much state-run as well, and that needs to go too. So, very hard
second that.
Yeah, very hard in a country like Canada. Anyway, it's an encouraging development, I would say, in the broadcasting world, and it remains to be seen if the BBC will survive or whether indeed they'll change their ways. Because if they started producing content people watched, like, I mean, it's Doctor Who used to have an audience of 10, 12 million. Now it's down to like 3 or something.
Yeah, I mean, they brought it on themselves. That's the thing, and I've learned with these things, like they don't learn. It's not that they're not capable of it. They can. There were like a lot of these people aren't. They come off as idiots or incompetent. And maybe sure, some of them may actually be, but these people know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it with intention. They're not that big of idiots. They are intending to kill off anything that has, Western society or the patriarchy or anything that has a long-standing fan base of sorts, that has a very dedicated following. So anything to destroy it, they just see as it's one step closer to destroying, because they know they don't want a Whovian. That's not an accident. When they want to replace you, and they don't, that they automatically think that normies, if anything, they think normies are stupid. They think the normies will latch on. And the thing is, some normies might latch on, but the thing with a normie, and this is not no disrespect to anyone who is considered a normie in this aspect, but the problem is, or maybe it's good in this regard, but normies tend to get into things for 5 minutes and they kind of leave it. Whereas if you talk to a Whovian or a Trekkie, they are into it and they live it. Whereas the normie, they're into it for the time being, and then they move on and they don't go back. And they automatically think that the normie is going to go there and stay there, and what they don't realize is the difference. So they're smart in the sense that they want to push away the Whovians, but they're idiots in thinking that who they are going to replace them with is going to automatically translate. They don't think for a second that this could not work. And so they just think, oh, just keep doing it again and again and again. And if we don't replace them, we kill the product anyway. So who cares? So either way, they're seeing it as their victory. These things are not going to change. And obviously we need alternatives, and not just alternatives. We need great alternatives. And I don't know what that could be for the Oliver out that way, a BBC alternative, but maybe it needs to rise from the ground up.
Yeah, I think if for it to successfully do that, in my opinion, they're going to have to have true diversity in the BBC, and I don't mean diversity of hiring. I mean diversity of opinion. Because at the moment they're lockstep with the Guardianista brigade in terms of their social outlook, and they're never going to make. They're deliberately, as you say, these are people who hate, let's say, for a better word, nerds or geeks.
Yeah.
Or normies, even, if you want to call them that. People like us who like genre stuff, they hate them, and they've proven that, and they've shown that, like, with their big FU to those people. So, and they did it with Top Gear, they've done it with various shows. They've driven out the stuff that people liked for the sake of the ideology. So if the BBC could get over that, given that it has got a lot of history and a lot of physical capabilities and a huge back catalogue, they might be able to make something out of it. Who knows? But now I think the challenge should be on them to do it without the public purse funding them. Let's see how you stand then.
I want to see what it's like, because they're so used to having that convenience to fall back on. So we're going to see what happens when their hands are tied. And that's going to be interesting to see. Could this be the straw that breaks the camel's back? Will this be the thing that will get these people to change? Because if this doesn't work, let's just say the funding gets cut away and they don't change. It just proves that these people will die with this ideology regardless of money. This is going to be the ultimate deciding test of, does the money matter to them or not? And because we keep saying, don't you want to make money? And I've questioned that, especially in the last year. I don't know if these people care about making money or losing it. It's hard to figure out. And I think this is gonna be the very biggest proof of that. Because if they ram it down and they die with that ideology, a lot of those people are just going to look for whatever is not dead yet and try to run that into the ground as well. This is just destruction of everything that's considered part of regular society.
Sure. Now these people are going to have to stand on their own 2 feet, which I think, given most of their backgrounds, they're not used to. They're not, as you say about the money thing, they don't care about making money because to them it just grows on trees. Many of them are from that certain background, privileged background in the BBC, and others are they've never done anything but be at college forever, so supported by who knows what. So I don't think the concept of making money or putting things out that people like to make money is even in their mentality.
No, it's definitely not.
They don't
I
get
agree.
that.
No, they don't. I don't, and it's hard to tell if they're taught that or not. So it's hard to tell because there's definitely no lessons in economics. That's for sure. There's one thing.
That's right. Yeah.
They're right now. What I've figured out is one thing that they have in mind, and they are very well versed in, is obviously absolute hatred towards anything and everything that is even 1% not like them. And that's really, really, really bizarre. I mean, what happens when you find out, like, the person you work with on the BBC, like your co-host, like let's just make up a hypothetical scenario. There's BBC News, and your co-host finds out that she uses Suave shampoo, but you use Head and Shoulders. Is this where like a new grudge begins because one uses Suave and the other uses Head and Shoulders? It feels like we're getting to that point now, which is really fucking weird. I can't believe we're getting there, but dude, we're saying controversy over someone liking someone's tweet, not responding, which he shouldn't even be a president on that even too, but just shows you we're getting to a magnifying glass level of nitpicking.
It's hyper partisan and hyper focus. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Most minuscule of details. Yeah. So, and I'd be quite willing to to listen to people's views from the BBC and what they believe their advantages are and what they're good at, and maybe they're not all like that. So we'll see where the debate develops in the good old UK. Maybe we should put Prince Andrew in charge of it. Give him a new job.
Oh man.
So anyway, that was the sort of one news item I wanted to really talk about today. I just found it fascinating. It's part of the culture.
Oh yes.
And Britain is still a big market for culture and
huge
major producer of culture next to America. So so you're just to return to your good self, sir. As I said earlier, one of the things I love about your channel is this various focus on different things. But how did you get started on YouTube? What was your inspiration to get this thing going?
Okay, so the idea of this kind of dates back a few years in a variation. I knew way back many years ago, there's a YouTube channel out there called Digital Tour Bus. They were also a music journalist website, music review website. And I have to emphasize the word music. I happen to cover a lot of the metal portions, and I was going to shows, reviewing them. I really enjoyed it. And then I got to a point after doing it for a few years, I couldn't do it anymore for the guy. And I hated that I couldn't do it. The guy was really good at what he did. But also the problem was when I stopped reviewing, he dropped the reviews on his session because of all his reviewers, I was the only one showing up to the thing. So like I was practically keeping his reviews alive, which is cool. But it's definitely like, oh darn. So if I were him, I probably would have gotten the reviews too. If I was in his spot, one guy's keeping alive and then you lose them. So he's done strictly like videos and stuff. And it's worked out for him since then. So it's all good.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for Josh. That's the guy who runs Digital Tour Bus. And I remember when I had stopped doing that, I thought to myself, I'd like to do something on my own one day. I don't know what, but I need to have something to call my own because I like doing that for someone. Luckily, the guy was great. I want to do something on my own terms. And I thought about for many years, like especially becoming a dad, slowed it down a bit. I thought about, okay, I want to do some music related. I went through a few different names, thought of ideas over the years. Then around 2019, I started I ran into some videos from Eric July, Young Rippa,
Oh, yeah,
and
Ripper, yeah.
and I was
Awesome
watching
guy.
his. Oh, I know. So I was watching his videos, and I watched more and more and more, and it blew my mind because
Mm,
that was right around the time like I was starting to be. I was kind of getting awareness of what was going on with like intersectionality, wokeness,
mm,
fourth wave feminism. I was very aware of it on a very normie face value level. And the reason I had to emphasize those words because I was living in Chicago at the time, which is a leftist echo chamber. And to me, it was just like you forget other points of views exist because you're so far deep down there, but I didn't even
mm,
realize it was. In 2019, I had moved back to the burbs, and the fact that I was catching Young Rippa videos, it blew my mind that a voice like that existed. I'm like, holy crap, there's this whole other side here. And then a few months later, I saw. Oh, I no, sorry, not a few months later. I just kept watching over the years. Not over the months. I
mm.
messed up my own words
Hey,
here.
it's yours now,
I
in
was
a sense.
yeah right. Now it has, but
Yeah.
over the months, I was paying attention to what he was saying and what he was doing, and I was really liking it. And then he had a guest on one day, and it was one of his For Canon's Sake podcasts, and it was Nerdrotic. And I remember they were talking, and of course Gary did his. I used to work in a comic shop, which over time I learned to become that's his I'm vegan equivalent catchphrase.
Mm, mm.
But at the time I thought, oh, that's cool. The guy ran a comic shop, and then like they're talking about, oh yeah, Eric's gonna be a guest on Friday Night Tights. I remember thinking to myself, oh, I wonder what Friday Night Tights is. That sounds actually kind of cool.
Mm.
And I decided, for one night on a Friday, I'm going to stay and see what's going on here. And I saw Eric July, of course, and Nerdrotic, who I'd just gotten to that same week. And I saw these are faces I did not recognize, like Jeremy and Ryan from Geeks and Gamers, Odin from Odin's movie blog. And I was just like,
Yeah.
holy crap, Who Comics Division, of course. I'm like, who are all these people? I've never even like this
Yeah,
side of an
it's like a
argument
whole world
exists.
opens up.
It was a Pandora's unboxing of sort. I
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
like, my mind was blown. And of course, I can't believe I forgot Az from Heel versus Babyface. But
Yeah.
it was really cool to see. And right then and there, I watched that FNT and I thought to myself, that's it. A YouTube channel. That's what I want to do. Because I kept thinking about, do I want to start off a website? Or should it be blogging? Should it be journalism? Would it be a video thing? I didn't know what. But right then and there, I watched that FNT episode and I realized I want to do a YouTube channel. And then a few weeks, maybe months later, then the whole unknown virus of unknown origins and the government
Unspecified
response. Yeah,
origins.
the government response to it was happening. And I thought to myself at that moment when everything was going on, when the world was in panicking over toilet paper, my mind was elsewhere. My mind was, you know what, Nick? This is the time to get this thing started. If you don't start this now, this idea you've been thinking about since
Mm.
2015, and here it is 2020. If you don't start this now, you're never going to get started because you keep finding excuses to put it off. And right around late May, maybe early June of 2020, I went to this place called Jollibee. It's an Asian-based fast food restaurant, and I just went there impulsively. Did a video, 2-part video on that,
Mm.
and that's when I realized, okay, I just did it, and I did it with my phone. I was like, you know what, this video is probably gonna suck, but just be terrible and crappy at this now. Eventually, you'll find your groove at this. And then I started covering some stuff, and I'm sure my takes and my argument sorts things weren't so good. I've not watched. I don't really tend to look back too much,
No,
but at
no,
least I was getting my feet wet, and that was what I was happy with. Was getting my feet wet. And at that point, I had been watching the Friday Night Tights for quite a few months, and I was learning about Comics Division and Hill versus Babyface, Midnight's Edge. I was watching all these channels, and I was watching more and more of them, and I learned about Steven Crowder. I learned about Razor Fist. I learned about Just Some Guy, Robert Burnett. It was just cool to see even guys who didn't have the same opinions still like get along and work together. And I really liked that. And then I remember saying, them kept saying the words the chat, super chat.
Mm.
and then I finally clicked on the magic link where it said live chat on my phone. Yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah, I'm the same. This is
And
very similar to my path.
I remember, like, I'm like, whoa, there's all these people here. Like, this is really cool.
Yeah,
And I just
yeah.
kind of like would say random things and hope that someone will respond. I think the first person who probably greeted me, I think it was Eric K. And obviously, he probably didn't know who I
Eric's
was
good
at
with
the
that.
time.
Yeah,
But
he's a good
he
lad.
was like, okay, cool. So someone
He's a
acknowledged
little
me.
bit fond of sheep, but otherwise he's a good lad.
So, I'm counting slowly but surely. I'm slowly like inserting myself in the chat a little bit more. And then I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna like ask someone. I hope that someone responds, because I saw some people like who are smaller channels who were on the chat responding and looked like they were talking about linking up and whatnot. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna say, hey, can anyone want to get a guy on a stream? Be nice to get to know someone. And Jake D responded.
No, Jake.
Yeah,
I'm
it
hopefully
was
going to
Jake
be
D.
meeting up with him on January 31st in Austin with
Nice.
my little trip to Austin. He's one of the guys that's lined up for the meetup, so that'll be cool.
Nice. Yeah. So Jake D was the first one to respond. He said, look for my page, and there will be an email to get in contact with him, which of course I got linked up with him, shot him an email, told him what my whole business was about. Before I knew it, I was on what he did, Howling About Entertainment. And Jake D was on there, and I met Draco Argentis, of course. I met Poly Latino Slant on there. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is really fun. This is everything about it was cool, fun, crazy, surreal. It was cool to be live. And I'm like, wow, this is what it's like live stream. Because at that point, I was strictly only
that's
doing
the
videos.
next big leap is the live thing. And it was the same for me. I just gradually, the first time I chatted to someone in the text chat, the first time I put anything in there, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be, people are going to say, who the hell are you? Get the hell out. And of course that doesn't happen. And then you start chatting to individuals, and then I figured out how to reply to them. Well, you put at and whatever. It took me about 6 months to figure that out. And then, Darius, my friend Darius, who's in the chat, we were kind of doing the same thing at the same time, almost simultaneously. We figured it out.
Funny.
And then you put your first super chat in. I think the first super chat I ever did was for Razor Fist.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was watching him, and then of course he reads it out, and you go, "Wow, that's great," But then the leap between that and I should be doing something, and then I should be doing a live thing, not just that. It's a big leap to make, Not everyone.
Oh, it is. Everything step by step. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do give credit to Jake D, because he went straight for the throat with the live streaming. And he was telling me, he was telling me, Nick, you should go live. And I thought, man, can I do that? Like, I want to. In my head, I knew I wanted to. I just wasn't sure if I was ready or capable of it. But I kept reappearing on Jake D's channel, and that was fun for a few weeks. And then Gary Nerdrotic posted about having member stream, and once again, another step. And I went on there, and I'm like, oh, I guess I should click on this link. And before I knew it, I was on a panel with him. Granted, it was members only, but it's still kind of like, whoa, I'm on a thing with this guy here. And I get to meet some people. It was really weird, because you're like, what do I say? What's the first thing I say? And I just went for it. I just was asking him questions right away. And I remember Paulie was on there, and he meant I can't remember what it is he mentioned, but he mentioned something about doing an X-Flix and Chill, the X-Files watch. And I told him that I loved it. I love that show. He's like, oh, you should come on.
Because I started coming into that. Yeah. That was one of the things that got me into doing stuff.
Yeah. So it was
fun.
like, okay, I guess I'll link up with this Paulie guy, see what's up here. And I met Paulie. And then I met Clobbering Times as well. And Clobbering Times, he's like, hey, he's like, I'll get you on here. I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, because I watched Clobbering on some videos.
Clobby's a great guy, and he has all that comic knowledge. But then you've got that too, and that's another plank of your show is your comic stream on Friday night. And unfortunately, I can't come in as often as I'd like because I'm doing foul ball. But
I'll be there this Friday with you.
Cool, but that's your comic stream is fantastic show. I absolutely love it. I've learned so much from watching that, and Clobby too, because I'm not a big comics guy, but they'll just come out. You guys come out with this stuff and go, look at this. And I go, my God, I've never seen that before. Who's that? And you'll have all these characters that I've never seen, and you describe them and where they fit into that universe. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked. I was at that point. I was doing stuff with JD. I was doing stuff with Paulie, and I had done an on again, off again thing with Latino. With I'm sorry, not Paulie. Clobbering times. I thought, wow. And then I saw this guy, Chris Knight. He has a channel, The Real Review 3000. And that was right around when The Mandalorian season 2 had come out. And for some reason, I didn't know the guy, but I went on a whim. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna ask this guy if he'll get me on a panel. I don't even know. I'm gonna just take a chance here and go for it. And he's like, yeah, I'll get you on. And I'm like, whoa, holy crap, that worked. It worked. Like, what? I didn't expect him to just say, yeah, let's get you on.
Who are you? You think you're gonna get the brush off?
Yeah, I didn't understand that, but I was glad he went for it.
Nice.
And then I'm getting ready to be on that first it was season 2 episode 1, the Mando review stream. I remember getting on the panel, and then before I know it, there's comics division. I'm like, whoa, there's comics. Whoa, what? This is crazy. So
yeah, now let me think. Comics division. I think I know.
What?
Pretty sure I know that guy. Yeah.
Oh man!
It's for me that a large part of this has been just, and I'm just little old me. I mean, I'm not nothing. I'm no expert in anything. Just a fan, and I'm suddenly on streams with these guys, albeit as I'm just wow, this guy's a real pro, and here's me sitting here blubbering away.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for me, I've kind of got a lot of front, so I can talk a lot. But it's still like, my God, this guy comics, he's big, huge. Well, not physically, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, to hang out even in a small way with these guys, and it's great, and you learn so much then. You see how they present themselves. Like, I mean, to be something like Gary, who can talk for 4 or 5 hours on his own.
Oh, I know.
When he's in these other streams, that's a hell of a thing to do.
Yeah.
To be able to just keep talking like that and not repeat yourself, and talk about different things. And he does it like 3 times a week. He's probably on. I think he's on right now. Actually, he might be.
Yeah, he is. And I'd like to get to a point where I do that.
Slot. Stealing my.
I'd like to do that sometime where I could do it because I believe I can do it now. I'm at a point where I'm ready. The only issue that's preventing that is the time. So my goal is when I get monetized, and I'm emphasizing those words, when, because I'm getting close. When I get monetized this year, that after I achieve that goal, my next goal to achieve is work 1 less day a week so I can focus on the channel. Maybe with that 1 less day of work, I can try to focus on the channel a bit more and do something like that.
Huge difference, buddy, because I was working through the season there. I had seasonal work until November after having been off with COOF related closures the year before, and I just couldn't really do much at all. I maybe make the odd video or 2. Since then, I've been able to really ramp things up, which is great. It does make a hell of a difference.
Oh my God! I can imagine
just having that time to prepare things. I mean. Coming into a show saying, well, here's 10 things I could talk about, and here's some stuff to show and stuff to talk about my guests, or just even if you're on someone else's show to prepare. If you don't have that time, we can all think on our feet, but it's kind of just makes it that little bit better, I think, and more enjoyable.
No, agreed. I wholeheartedly agree, and I will get to that point. I'm looking forward to getting to that point. I can't wait. It's something I want to achieve this year. It's get monetized and then get to a point where I can go from 5 days a week to 4 days. And obviously by doing that, I'm going to need to maybe I'll to open a Get Cash. Maybe I'll have to start a Subscribe Star. Maybe I'll have to do a membership thing. I want to increase those ways of making sure I can get that go down to 4 days, and that will make such a huge difference. And I'd love to do that, seriously, and I'll get there.
And I get the feeling it's like me with you that this isn't about ever having any expectation of being mega stars and having
No,
hundreds
God,
of
no.
thousands of subscribers and making
Never
a ton of
gonna
cash.
happen.
It's never been
Yeah.
about that for me. I just want to make better stuff and have all these great conversations. And if you can bring a little in to support that, that's great. You know, it keeps you being able to do it, makes you better at it. I think. Yeah. So
No.
one of the great things you've been able to do is that wonderful show, Toxic Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So, and obviously next Tuesday we're covering possibly one of the greatest movies in history. Greater, and I mean all of history, not just movie history, just history in general. Demolition Man is our Tuesday, Toxic Tuesday tomorrow night. So I would urge everyone to subscribe to 32 Flavours of NickWeiser and then get your notifications on and watch this show every Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure everyone in the chat's already watching it anyway, but if there's anyone we don't know of
Yeah,
that's never
right.
seen it. So how did you, what prompted you, triggered you to get the idea for Toxic Tuesdays in?
What happened was this. So when I finally started live streaming in January of last year, so we're slightly over the year mark of when I started live streaming on my channel. It started off as 32 Flavors of Entertainment. And I liked the name, but my issue in my head was I felt like I was talking so much about how much bad was going on that I feel like I needed to balance myself out on a mental level. 'Cause I'm like, there's just so much bad going on that there's no balance. And I thought about it, like I'm like, what I need to like do something else because we're talking about it so much, like it can drain you. It can drain you sometimes when you talk about it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this thing where I talk about action movies for a month. See, and no, and then I'll figure out what I want to do from there. And I start with a few flicks. I'm like, this will be fun. It'll be some different to do. Talk about toxic male action movies. And then a
Yeah.
few of those went by, and they were really good. And the live chats were going up. I'm like, huh, okay, I guess we'll keep this going a little bit. We'll go through it through the summer. And then the name Toxic Tuesday hit, and the more movies started happening. And before I knew it, I started having a panel slowly but surely coming in because like Mad Mardigan, Mark D with a C, Dustin, you slowly like a panel starting to slowly form it because really it was just whoever I could get at the time.
It's like a jelly coming together and cooling.
It really was. And I was just like, okay, there was something going here. And I thought about more about, you know what? And I thought about, I'm like, this is what I'm doing here. This is not just fun, but I felt like it was also kind of important. And I had to say important because I'm looking at this from the Eric July perspective as a culture thing. This is a very important thing because nowadays being a man and manhood and toxic masculinity are so like shamed on. I'm like, no, I'm gonna embrace that. So I'm looking at this from an entertainment and a cultural perspective. So now I got two different set of lenses on this. And it's fun to do, but it's also great on a cultural level to talk about these things, to show people why this stuff rules, where it came from, and remind us. This is a great way of reminding us of these types of things that are still out there and that they still exist. And hopefully one day we can have the pendulum swing back the other way towards greatness like this.
They've not erased the past yet. These movies for now are still available. So they haven't erased them yet.
Buy physical media.
Well, that's what I've started to do again after all these years of shedding it. I'm going back to buying it again. Blu-rays. Certainly final. I've always bought CDs, even second-hand ones usually, but brand new Blu-rays are what I'm buying now for movies. I'm trying to fill in the gaps in my collection of the all-time greats that I love, because who knows, a movie like this might be deemed problematic and removed.
I'm surprised it hasn't,
or at least
with the prominent names. Or a disclaimer. Yeah, no, it's funny. I'm just glad it's taken on this life that it has, and people have come back, and it's nice that people are recognizing the name too. Like, it's great that people recognize that name. I love that. And people now expect this to be a thing too. They expect it, and especially since it lines up right in line with Midnight's Edge After Dark. A lot of people will be done with Midnight's Edge After Dark, and they just hop right on over to this. So it's a great 1-2 punch. You get a little bit of what's going on in modern entertainment, and then you go away to my channel for some actual escapism. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of escapist fun on that stream for sure. I'd just like to say hail to everyone still in the chat. LDG has joined us. LDG is a guy I admire greatly. He does so many great things technically with his channel and his streams, and he's really always willing to help people, how to do things. And he's got this kind of always open policy of everybody being able to come in and chat at any time. I've had some great conversations in his waiting room backstage. Sometimes it's front stage. So hail LDG, thanks for stopping by, and Man of Wars stopped by too. It's nice to see you all. I'm really pleased that you're all coming in to see my little channel. They're here for Nick, I know, but
Nah, they're here for that 70s rock fan. Who are you trying to kid?
So we have this discussion on Toxic Tuesdays, and we often have a lot of difficulty determining exactly what our scale should be of toxicity and what it really means. What do you really think toxic means in respect of these movies?
For me, toxicity means, well, I see it as how manly is it? How brutal is it? How savage is it? Or how badass is the dialogue? That's what I look for in the toxicity. I look for all those super manly alpha male traits of these things. So I'm looking at the badassery. I'm looking at a badassery level. So that's what I'm looking for, is all the cool manly stuff is where I rate the toxicity. That's how I rank it.
Yeah, and I think we've been saying that we've taken the view that is this something, if it was made now, would it look entirely different? Therefore, that difference that they would take out, that's the toxic bit. That's the stew that they would remove from the meal if they were to make it now. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely an alpha male thing. It's definitely a violent. There's an element of violence. There's an element of I don't give a fuck language. Certainly not the I'm a soy boy being beaten by a thin 4 foot tall woman now. Now I have to say there's toxic femininity too. We might cover a little bit of that if we've got time. In fact, let's have a look at it now. I've been looking for some articles out. We kind of think we know what toxic masculinity is. And it's that thing that they all hate now. It's the things we've just described, the alphaness.
Yeah.
But there's toxic femininity too, I would say. If I just share this particular screen, just give me 1 second. You see, I'm boomerang the frick out of this. Let's close this down. We'll come back to that in a minute. Characteristics of a toxic woman. So let's just see how this is on a site I've discovered called Barroom Genius. I got a feeling Mad Martigan might be something to do with this, because so the characteristics of a toxic. And I should say right now, I am not a misogynist. I have a daughter. I have a granddaughter. I have a wife. I've got sisters. I got a mother. Women are absolutely the equal of men in many non-immutable respects. So, so this is toxic femininity. So we should think of a movie these might be in. So, Extremely Insecure is the first one they've mentioned here. Well, there's insecure men too, but I see where they're getting at. They'll play the victim. She's a pathological liar. I'm thinking of actresses here. There's certain actresses that this may well fit. Drama queen. Maybe somebody of a marvelous persuasion perhaps might fit these. She's desperate.
Man.
She's like I mean, are they really describing Hollywood actresses here? That's what I'm thinking. She's a gold digger. She's judgmental. Well, which woman isn't?
Yeah,
even the ones we love are.
Let's be fair here. We all are to some degree. Exactly, it really doesn't make sense when they say no judgment or no discrimination, because the thing is, we all do to some degree. In the very purest sense, every one of us has some discriminate trait, or it's, and put it this way, I've been with my girlfriend for almost 2.5 years, and by being with her, I am discriminating against every other lady on the planet. And I'm aware of that, and I'm okay with that. And you're
denying them your greatness, quite frankly. I think it would be a service to humanity if you were to go out there and give yourself to the world.
Give all the flavors out to everyone.
Indeed,
No,
all
so
the flavors. Give them all the flavors.
I am being very non-inclusive, being very exclusive with, giving myself to her. And that is me openly discriminating against every other lady alive. Like, that's just how that is. And we all have our traits. Like, trust me, there are times where I have seen some very horrifying women in Chicago. And I'm like, yeah, get me away from that. Give me a stick so I can push myself away from that. And by doing that, yeah, that is. And there's tons of guys who do it, and there's tons of women who do that too. If some girl sees a creepy guy on the street, of course you want to get away from him. Of course you do, and rightfully so. Get that stick.
Well, of course you do. Yeah.
Beat him in the head and then run away. And but at that point, you just discriminate because you said that guy looks like a fucking creep, and that's fine. He looks like a fucking creep.
But this is actually, strangely enough, is in the dating advice section of this site. So it's kind of a bit of an off-putter, really. Like, taking advice should be, you know what, just don't bother. But it's funny because these are the terms that they use on the progressive side to describe toxic masculine guys. Well, they're extremely insecure, so they cover that up by being alpha and whatever. So it's funny to see it from, you could twist some of these and equally apply them to the other genders, all 58 of them. So, but anyway, to me, it described Hollywood actresses perfectly, every one of these things. So, however, I'd like to just introduce another friend of the channel, friend of mine, my YouTube buddy, who's to the day almost started on YouTube together. It's Mr. Darius Munchausen.
Whoa!
Hey, old gentleman. Since we're talking about toxic movies,
indeed, and I'm about to have a little quiz. That's why I've invited you on. I have a toxic movie quiz, so hopefully the chat will enjoy.
How'd that get in there?
I don't know. So this is the Miami Connection scene. I showed that clip last week and I got a copyright claim for that. It's a bit weird. But yeah, Miami Connection. So how are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. I had to update Windows and reboot, so I figured, okay, well, I could probably come in right at the hour mark then. That'll give you a lot of time to talk to Nick, our good friend.
Indeed.
And tremendous internet personality.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
His personality oozes out of the screen. It's oozy.
That's why my screen's sticky.
Oozy 9mm. Oozy 9mm.
Oozy 9mm.
So yeah, I thought I'd take this opportunity. And by the way, Darius, you do know that you're my designated executive producer for this show, so congratulations.
Oh.
I'm not sure it has any responsibilities, but it's a great title, executive producer.
Yeah, nobody knows what an executive producer does.
That's right. Yeah. So we're gonna try this. I'm gonna ask you guys just verbally some toxic quotes from movies and see if you can name the movie and the character. Some are easy, some are dead easy. Some are harder. So best manly movie quotes.
I'm gonna fail so hard at this. Watch me bomb at this.
There's no buzzer. Just shout out if you know the answer.
All right.
And in the chat, you feel free. I mean, you'll be behind by 30 seconds, so feel free to chip in. So number one. You can wait till the end of the quote, or you can come in early. You've got to ask yourself one question: do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Oh, it's Dirty Harry.
Didn't know that one.
Dirty Harry. Oh, I didn't ask it. You got to ask yourself one question. I can't do Clint Eastwood, so.
You feel lucky. That actually has a great sequel in Magnum Force.
Magnum Force is great. Yeah, all of those are brilliant. I mean, you just couldn't make that. You couldn't make that now. Now this is a slightly more obscure one, and you young chaps might not get it. Calling it your job don't make it right, boss. Calling it your job don't make it right, boss.
I don't know.
I don't know that one.
I'm 0 for 2.
Yeah. That one is Paul Newman in Cool Hand Luke.
Oh.
He's
I've
in
not
the
seen
jail
it.
when he's in the jail. That's a toxic movie, by the way.
Ooh, okay, we got another answer.
It's possibly one of his most macho, or not really macho, but alpha male roles. And he's getting mistreated in the prison there. So, okay. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Oh my god,
Oh.
I've heard this one.
If I could say it a little more swarthily. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Did a black man say this? I knew it.
It was a black gentleman, yes, possibly the world's greatest black actor, if not one of the greatest actors. Full stop.
Denzel
Anyway,
Washington.
you have got the actor. Can
It's
you
not
name the
Man on
movie?
Fire.
Rough
Is it
Girl's got it in the chat. She's got it.
Is it Training
Yep.
Day?
It's Training
Hey,
Day. Yeah.
Yeti
Oh.
Cast got it too in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, I
those
see.
guys got it.
Yeah.
Well done to the chat. Got that one. That's I mean, I love Denzel. Who doesn't? And
No,
Training
fantastic
Day. Training
actor.
Day kicks ass.
Oh,
Anton-
that's an amazing flick.
It's one of my favorite directors, Antoine Fuqua. Always does
Oh,
good shit.
So good. So good.
And Ethan Hawke, who's another one of my favorites. I watch that movie a lot. I love that movie. Especially as Denzel gets to play a bad guy.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
right? He's so good at it. He's
Yeah,
so
he's
good.
fucking awesome. And of course, he's now playing his greatest ever role as a Scotsman in Macbeth, in the
I've
new
not
version
seen
of
that.
Macbeth that's been released on Apple TV Plus. He's playing Macbeth. So, you know, I'm proud that Denzel is an honorary Scotsman now. So.
Is he a true Scotsman?
Does that mean I'm cool now too by association? Or is he a true Scotsman though? Well, you'll have to watch the movie to find out.
Now I have to.
They're going to need a bigger kilt. Oh well, here's another easy one. So, are you all ready? I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Roddy Piper
Oh,
in
Roddy
They Live.
Piper. Yes, well done, Darius.
I knew that one too for a time. Like, oh my god, I know this, but you got me.
Yeah, that's one of the all-time
Such a good
classic
line.
ones. This is actually another older one, but you may know it. Hey, Johnny, what are you rebelling against? What have you got? What have you got?
Oh,
I don't know.
What have you got?
Don't know.
That is.
ugh.
And you
I
can
know
hear him
that
say,
line.
What have you got? What have you got?
Is that in relation to the Sex Pistols?
Not that I'm aware of. Although it has got some real... it has got a certain relationship to the Beatles in an obscure way. It's her piece. What have you got?
I see. Yeah.
It is actually Marlon Brando in The Wild One.
Oh,
Ooh,
Yeah, well,
wow.
what are you rebelling against? Well, what have you got? When he's in the bike gang with Lee Marvin. And the Lee Marvin's bike gang was the Beatles. But Beetles.
okay.
You guys don't know nothing.
Lee Marvin, he's always drunk and irritable.
Or sometimes he's just drunk. I mean, it's one or the other. So here's an interesting one which I'd forgotten about. It's whoa, nice shooting, Tex.
Don't know.
Don't
know.
Don't
know.
Don't know. Whoa, nice shooting, Tex. It's Bill Murray in Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
I don't
So
remember
a
that
more
line.
obscure quote from that one. Here's a great one, and I actually didn't know this one, although I know the movie very well, and I didn't know. Whenever there is any doubt, there is no doubt,
Oh.
and it's not Mystery Men, because that's the kind of thing that would be. Like, have you listened to what this guy's saying? Not, yeah. Whenever there is any doubt, there is no doubt.
Oh man!
I'll give you a clue. This movie was discussed briefly for anyone that was watching the comics division stream last night. This movie was mentioned, and it's directed by John Frankenheimer.
Oh
And
man!
it also starred Sean Bean and Jean Reno, but that's not their quote.
I give up. I give
It
up.
is Robert De Niro in Ronin.
Oh,
Mr. Grant Gregory got it.
And yeah, he cast Grant Gregory got it. Yeah,
Yes.
I'd forgotten that particular line, but that is a kick-ass movie, Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant movie.
I've seen that a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's a great one. And again, this is an older movie, 1960. We Deal in Lead, friend.
Don't know.
Let's see if anyone. So it's a western. It's a western from 1960. We Deal in Lead, friend.
I guess.
I'd say it's a multi-cast, a big cast, possibly a certain number in the cast.
Oh, the Magnificent Seven?
Magnificent Seven. Well,
Ah.
Steve McQueen in the Magnificent Seven.
Seen
Cosmic
it, don't
Squirrel.
remember the dialogue.
Grant Gregory and Cosmic Squirrel, they got it. Oh, this is actually a slightly different one. Are you okay with me doing a few more of these? You guys good?
Yeah, do a few more.
One time I wrestled a giraffe to the ground with my bare hands. And this is a comedy.
The Ace Ventura?
Nope. I'll give you a clue. He didn't say it, but Will Ferrell was in the movie.
It wasn't Step Brothers. Old School?
Step
It was
Brothers
Step
is
Brothers? So
correct.
it was.
John C.
Oh.
Riley and Step Brothers.
Oh, wow. Okay,
These
so
are
it
tough.
was.
These are actually quite tough.
I actually watched Step Brothers recently, and that line, I'm like, I feel like that would come from that, if not
Yeah.
Old School at best. But okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
Step
similar.
Brothers.
Similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like an ad-lib line.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Terminator 2. Judgment
Two.
Day.
Yes,
Yeah,
you had to say
there
the
you
two. Had to say the two. Yeah.
Because he taught John Connor the quote, and then Terminator. Well, John Connor taught him the quote, and then
Mhm.
later on in the movie, Terminator started using it later. And he's like, "Hasta la vista, baby."
Right. We've got a
Mhm.
few more. Another easy one. You're a disease and I'm the cure.
Oh,
Oh,
Cobra.
Agent Smith
Cobra.
No.
in The Matrix?
Cobra. No. Cobra.
Cobra.
Oh, one of the
Nick's got it.
greatest toxic flicks of all
Yeah.
time. I love Cobra.
However, Agent Smith does say something very, very similar. Extremely close. It might even be the same phrase. You're right.
He says human beings
Disease.
are a disease,
I am
and
the
we
cure.
are the cure.
Yeah, he
It's
says
truth, I'm the
like
cure.
that. But right before in Cobra, when Stallone shoots, he says to the guy in that grocery store, "You are the disease. I
Right.
am the cure."
I'm the cure. This is one you'll get. I ain't got time to bleed.
Ah!
Oh, Predator.
Predator. Yeah,
Predator.
Predator.
Who says it?
Oh,
Which actor?
Jesse Ventura?
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
The body.
Oh, these are
Dude,
good.
that is one of the most toxic lines ever. I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one, and we should get this. Pain don't hurt.
Oh.
And it's a Toxic Tuesday movie. Pain don't hurt.
Is it Predator again?
No.
No.
No. Pain don't hurt. It's the lead character in a 1989 movie that has featured on Toxic Tuesday. Pain don't hurt. Mr. Grant Gregory, you win the prize.
I don't know.
It is
Roadhouse.
Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, I
Well
don't remember that
played.
line.
We'll do a few more if we're good.
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Yeah, if we're good.
I just
might
saw
say
Sam
for-
Elliott in a 1972 movie where he had no mustache.
Oh, I know it's weird when you see him without a mustache. He did a Justified, a season of Justified, and he had no mustache and beard. And it was like no mustache. Ooh, he's got a funny lip, you know. But anyway, it is weird. Oh, another easy one. I'm just picking these off a website. Say hello to my little friend.
Scarface.
Yeah. Lidl, my Lidl friend.
Well, say it sounds like he's saying, "Say hello to my new friend." I'm like, so are you trying to say little and you couldn't squeeze it in there fully?
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't they spoof
So-
that in the movie Mafia, where just a tiny guy comes out of his trench coat with a gun?
That's right. That's right. So we'll do a couple more. You're so ugly, you could be a modern art masterpiece. I didn't
I don't
quite say
know.
it. I didn't quite say it the way the character did. He kind
I
of
don't
shouted
know.
it. You're
Although
so
that-
ugly. You could be a modern art masterpiece.
It sounds like something you might say to someone.
So I'll give you a clue. It's certainly an army training thing.
Oh, Full Metal Jacket?
And the name of the actor that played the drill sergeant?
Arlie Ermy?
Correct. Well played. And Mr. Grant Gregory again gets it. Grant, you're going to come on next week. We'll do some more. I'll save some week. This one's not so much an alpha, but it's an interesting quote. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Oh, I know that one.
Classic movie.
Say it again.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Oh, I've heard that. Oh.
Oh,
Mr.
Grant's got it.
Grant's getting it again.
Don't know.
It is Kevin Spacey in The Usual Suspects.
Oh my God, I haven't seen that
Verbal
in a long
Kint.
time.
Mhm.
Verbal Kint.
I didn't know they got all these movies down in Australia.
Well, they're. Yeah. How do they get them under the flat Earth? That's what I want to know.
They tie a rope to them.
They've just arrived on VHS there. Just recently they got VHS. Sorry, God.
Captain Marty Spock says worst film ever made.
It's-
Talking about The Usual
I know
Suspects. He's
Captain.
not a
I
fan.
noticed that Captain Spock is in the chat, and welcome, sir. And I know he hates that movie, so that's why I had to read it. Sorry, buddy. Okay, I'll go back to another slightly older one. We've already had this actor earlier. You see, in this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. You dig. You got to imagine somebody very tall with squinty eyes and a really good accent. You see,
Sean Connery?
no, you see in this
Is
world.
it Clint
Think more
Eastwood?
Californian. Clint Eastwood is correct. You see, in this world, there are two kinds of people, my friend.
Don't
Those
know.
and indeed, Soul Assassin has the answer. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Which could be us three, if you think about it.
I'll be the
Good,
ugly
bad,
since no one knows what I look like.
So maybe, let's see, I'm going to... easy one for you. In fact, I'll just say AK-47, the very best there is.
Oh, that's Samuel L. Jackson in Jackie Brown.
That's right. And the line after that is...
When you absolutely, positively have to kill every last motherfucker in the room,
Except no substitutes.
no substitutes.
All right, one more. Just keeping an eye on the time, Nick, because I know you got to drop out shortly. Here's the final one, another easy one. Are you not entertained?
Oh, Gladiator.
Russell Crowe, Gladiator.
I
Yeah.
feel like many movies have used that line. I feel like
but
that's got to be more than one answer.
Not quite in the way. Not quite in the way he said it though. With the "Are you not entertained?" Because he just
Okay.
slaughtered everybody in like 3 seconds. So they're not getting their ticket price. I mean, they're not getting to think what they paid for ticket wise.
Right, because he killed everyone too fast.
Yeah. So anyway, one more.
Why
Let's
not?
have
Let's do
have
it.
one more to finish off. Oh, there's another Clint one. We'll go past that one. Go past it. Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape.
Is that Gran Torino?
Nope.
Clint Eastwood? No.
Further back,
It's
further back.
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. Chuck Heston.
Don't know.
Charlton Heston and Planet of the Apes.
Damn you all to hell.
I'll take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape. So that was it.
The best parodies of that is the Simpsons parody of Planet of the Apes, the stage play.
That's right, yeah. So we'll do another round of those in the future, save some for the future, but I just thought, given our toxic discussion, that would be be nice to have a little quiz. Thank you, everybody. Oh, it's better to burn out than to fade away. It's
Agreed.
the Kurgan and Highlander,
Oh,
Clancy
yeah.
Brown. Don't ever talk to me. He says to the guy in the hotel, don't ever talk to me.
Also
Doesn't
known
say
as
about it,
Mr.
just
Krabs.
never- Yeah. Yes. So that was a good one. It was Earth all along. I know. What a giveaway. So, just to finish off the subject of toxicity, though, and thank you for guys for participating in that quiz.
Yeah,
I do
that's
have
fun.
another interesting. Doing my research for another interesting site, which is all about the toxic couples in movies, and actually, this is Looper, which is not the greatest of sites, but it was about couples that really aren't that great when you look at it closely. And they're coming at this from, I think, the progressive angle. But they talked about Sandy and Danny in Greece. Now, everybody thinks of Greece. They think, what a lovely movie. Isn't that a beautiful love story at the end? But when you think about it, they've got a point here. So, first bad sign arises when Danny talks to his friends about her in a misleading way, hinting at sex they didn't have. So yeah, maybe he is a bit toxic here, you know. I mean, and the thing
he's very
is,
toxic.
the thing is he toxic because he didn't have the sex, therefore he's lying about it, or is he toxic because he's boasting about it? Which is it, you know? If he'd had the sex, would it have been okay?
I was gonna say boasting.
Yeah. If he'd had the sex with her, would it have been okay to boast about it? When they start to date again, Danny takes Sandy to a drive-in movie, during which he tries to force himself on her. So yeah, right enough. I mean, this teen movie is starting to look a bit toxic. He insists that nobody can see while Sandy continues to struggle before she manages to get out of the car. See, this beloved family movie, well, it's kind of family because it was a little bit, is starting to look fairly toxic to me and therefore quite attractive. And in the end, both of them change themselves to win back the other. Danny gets into sports and starts wearing a Letterman jacket because Sandy once dated a jock. And Sandy, in a complete makeover, shows up in an all-black outfit with tight-fitting leather pants while smoking a cigarette. So in other words, she turns herself into a bit of a hoe in order to get the guy. So that's toxic. I mean, that's... Well, Danny...
Sounds like she toxified herself.
Yeah. While Danny merely puts on a different jacket, Sandy's entire behavior changes. You see how much easier it is for the guys. He just has changed his jacket. She's suddenly walking with a strut and speaking differently. The couple ends up together, but only after sexual assault and a complete personality makeover for Sandy to fit the mold of what Danny wants. So, as Zach says, in the 2023 reboot, she pegs him. Grease went on to be Pulp Fiction. So there's a movie. There's a filter that we can look at classic beloved movies at with it in a slightly different way, because this movie is actually full of toxic masculinity. So,
very toxic.
Who would have ever thought?
Isn't it funny how you just put on a different set of lenses and you can see things that you don't normally see?
Yeah.
It really, I mean, it's the same way that can be said about with the whole Karate Kid and Cobra Kai. Once you see the whole thing about from Johnny Lawrence's point of view, it's just like, oh, that really has definitely made you rethink a lot of these things. And it's fun and entertaining theories. That's what us fanboys do. We like to, we theorize on these things. We in that sense, yes, that makes us conspiratorial in that way because we're conspiracying based on the movie and the perspective and what they were trying to tell us.
Yeah, and that Cobra Kai scene that you talked about, where he looks at it from his perspective, it did look exactly like he said. This snotty outsider comes in and ruins everything and steals my girl. That's and there have been a few movies where there've been different viewpoints in the same movie where they looked at a scene, and it is very much subjective. You see what you want to see, and that's. But there's a movie where people would look at it and go, "Isn't this a cute movie? It's rock and roll. It's fun." She actually has to completely change her personality to something kind of really slutty in order to get the guy, which is I think they've got.
Did she really have to, or did she only think she had?
Well, did she think she had to? That's a great point, sir. Absolutely great point. So, but yeah, just now I don't think I can see Grease in the same way. I'll be looking at it in future going, that's terrible. What's awful? But yeah, this site has actually got a few quite good ones. Some of them are obvious, but there's other ones that are quite funny. Belle and the Beast and Beauty and the Beast. Apparently, the Beast is a misogynist asshole. But as well as being hung like a beast, he's a misogynist asshole. Anyway, that's an interesting site.
That's what Blackie Lawless was talking about.
Yeah. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And John and Jane and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So,
Oh, yeah.
That was just like 15 years ago, that one.
yeah.
That long
In fact,
ago?
they concealed everything from each other. But that's marriage. And Ben and Mrs. Robinson, The Graduate. Now, you see, I never understood why Dustin Hoffman's character was so moping about and upset all the time. Because he gets free sex with an older, sexy woman next door, and he doesn't have to even do anything for it, and yet he gets all upset about it. So, I don't know.
He gets upset when she calls him inadequate.
That's right. Well, he's the original soy boy. He is the original soy boy.
Early incarnations.
Yeah, he mopes about for the entire movie, and he's got it made. But yeah, anyway. So there it is. Our dive into toxicity.
It's a fun dive. You can always
Yes.
dive into more toxicity.
And I'm sure we will in future. But yeah, thanks for doing the Toxic Tuesdays, my friend.
Oh, my pleasure. It's
you
been a
very-
blast.
Yeah, and I think for you deserve a clip for the Toxic Tuesday.
You sound like a cop to me.
I'm gonna get taken down for that one. That's perhaps I'll give you a more wholesome one. That one's for you. Rock and
Yeah.
roll.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we're not even had the chance to dive into to music in great detail, sir. But we'll have to do that.
We'll do a
Another
follow up. We'll do
Yeah.
a follow up. We will, and it will be fantastic.
It will. We're. I did want to briefly touch on because I tried to talk about it last week, but there was obviously a lot of people in the chat and a lot of people on the panel, and it was hard to focus. But I am looking forward to this new book about the Denim and Leather, about the new wave of British heavy metal. It's an unfortunate choice because there's a Saxon album called Denim and Leather, so I might get confused with it.
Yeah. New one coming out too, by the
yeah.
way, next month.
Oh.
New Saxon
But-
coming. I cannot wait. I will be doing a live review on that one. That's
So-
be great.
I did want to touch on this because I'm very interested in this because this was in my first flush of gig going era.
Mhm.
I only went to my first ever gig in like 1977, so at the time I was heavily going like to 3-4 gigs a week. This stuff was hitting, and I saw that's the Iron Maiden with Paul Di'Anno, of course.
Yeah,
And
Piano.
I saw that lineup. I saw with Samson supporting them, who of course had Bruce Dickinson, and then went on to be in Iron Maiden.
Wow.
So I was
Wow.
heavily into that stuff. Saw Samson a couple of times actually. Saw him supporting
Dude.
Saxon as well. Samson and Saxon. I mean, talk about a lineup, you know.
I
Samson and
know. Can you imagine that happened now?
Saxon
Jeez.
and Samson. It was just like this is great. This was just in a club as well. These were all in small clubs, maybe 200 or 300 people clubs.
Wow.
So I was very
Wow.
lucky to be on the scene, and I was living in the Midlands of England at the time, and near Birmingham and Wolverhampton. There was just thousands of gigs to go to, and so this book looks really good, and it's got some of the older, like the Zeppelins, the Deep Purples, the Judas Priests. The Priest really got a big kick out of the new wave of British heavy metal, or actually
Mhm.
almost became part of that, even though they'd been around for a long time before that.
Mhm.
Def Leppard, I keep forgetting about, were a part of that scene.
They were when they put out On Through the Night, because that was more of like a
Yeah.
traditional heavy metal album. But then obviously after On Through the Night, they started leaning more towards what they have been since then. But if you put on Through the Night, that first Def Leppard album is
Yes.
a traditional heavy metal album. Obviously, they've been a different band since, but that first album, I will always call it a metal album.
Yeah, and I think when they got Mutt Lang on board and he kind of polished their sound up and they got that radio-friendly American arena sound, that became different. But in the early days, they were a traditional heavy metal band.
Mhm.
Venom, they mentioned there, who I've seen a few times and absolutely loved. And UFO, UFO to me are a band that don't get nearly enough
Mm-mm.
attention. They're very
Mhm.
underlooked. I'm probably going to do a video about them.
Ooh,
I
I'll
had the
watch
gr-
that one.
Oh, I love UFO. I mean,
Great
and
band.
multiple incarnations. Obviously, they had 2 or 3 guitar changes through the years and whatever. But I saw them a few times, but I saw them in lucky gig, and the only gig I ever saw in the Marquee Club in London, in Wardour Street, which is a famous club. I was in London walking past, and it said tonight, one night only, warm up gig UFO. And I went in, there was just like 50 people there, and it was fucking awesome. Because they were a major stadium band at the time, you know. To see them in a little club like that was just amazing. Like standing like 5 feet away from them, it's just tremendous. So I have huge love for UFO, and a brilliant band. And they finally packed it in last year or the year before, as they were knocking on a bit. So, but still a great band. And of course,
Oh
Saxon.
yeah.
Saxon, I love Saxon. Saw them a few times. Strangers in the Night and
Oh my
Wheels of
god,
Steel. Wheels of
dude.
Steel. That opening riff.
Wheels of Steel. Oh no, I was a late bloomer to Saxon. I have to mention because I didn't see him until 2018 when Judas Priest had released a Firepower album, and their opener for the tour was Saxon. And for some reason they skipped Chicago. So Saxon made up for it by adding in their own off date from that tour, doing a headliner in Chicago, which totally worked out, by the way, because I got to see Saxon up close and personal, sold out show with around 350, 400 people. And that was my first time I had seen Saxon live, and they blew my damn mind.
Oh, I loved them. Yeah, I love that band.
And they still got it. They still got it.
They do. And I'm actually kind of getting back into them again after a few years of not really listening to them. And I saw them in 1980, 1981. 1982, and each tour that they did, and just loved that band. Absolutely loved them. To me, the epitome of metal, British metal, traditional hardcore British metal. And another band that's mentioned here and is going to be in this book in Bleatus is a band called Diamond Head, who they were based very close to where I lived in the Midlands of England at the time, and I was literally like the next village. So I used to see them play in bars when they were starting out, and it was just a fucking great band they were. Yeah, so it's an era that I look back on fondly because of nostalgia purposes. I mean, it's the age I'm at now. I just went to so many gigs at that time, and then you saw the resurgence of metal because of this, and the older bands like Judas Priest, and then even Motorhead, who were kind of straddled the older metal and the new. Given they only started in 76 or whatever, 75, 76, they all became hugely successful, I think, on the back of this. And then you got your Richie Blackmore's Rainbow and bands like Rush.
Rainbow's great too. Oh my God.
So it's an era I look back on very fondly, as a sort of every few years there's a push of music, and this was new wave was happening at the time too, and there was certainly some crossovers, like AC/DC when in the Bon Scott days when they toured, were actually almost seen as a punk band at times, and they appeared on bills with punk bands because of their high energy style, so there was a lot of crossover too. A lot of metal fans, of course, steered at punk and vice versa, but a lot of us were just into music, and we liked anything with loud guitars, so we were good with both. And Motorhead certainly they did stuff with the Damned. They did stuff with the Damned and bands like that. So
yes,
Phil Lynott of Thin Lizzy, he loved with the punk guys too.
Yes, yeah, Phil Lynott, he knew it was up, and oh my God, I mean, before Motorhead, if you want to even get more technical, the Hawkwind, of course, like
I was into them from in the early 70s, just spaced out. Talk about space rock, and I was kind of into that because I was into space and astronomy, and I'm certainly going to be talking about that in future streams. And so I kind of got into that spacey thing, and I thought, well, that band, look at their covers, look at the album covers. I was like 10, 11, 12. Look at that cover, it's so good.
So good. Yes, still to this day. Still to this day.
It stands up. Their music stands up. Riff heavy, spaced out stuff like Silver Machine, which Lemmy sang on, of course. But and again, a band that's survived over many changes over the years, but still going on in some form or other, and kind of massively underlooked almost,
Oh yeah, and there's so many good ones that have been under or overlooked. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Like another great, if you want to get into the Canadian realm of under and overlooked traditional heavy metal bands, Exciter. They were a 3-piece, and
Yeah.
they had pounding metal. Exciter is very underrated, and you even go with the thrash wave too. Razor, Annihilator.
Anvil.
I mean, they're more. I mean,
They're popular.
it's hard to say. I mean, at one point I would say they're underrated, but then they put out their Sympathy movie, which is still good, by the way. Now, here's the thing: with Anvil,
Triumph,
they played.
wouldn't Triumph a Canadian trio that were quite metal as well for a while.
Oh yeah.
Slightly more. They weren't sort of full on heavy metal, but they were kind of in that middle ground, hard rock metal. Triumph.
Voivod.
Oh yeah, Voivod. Yeah.
I mean, I was
Voivod
always
is great.
Yeah, hugely into Rush, of course, because of the prog side of things and the prog metal.
Yes, the band.
Kings.
Yes, the band. Yes, I mean, yes is wacky.
Yeah. Here's a fun fact for you: I saw Yes live only once, and it was the era where the Buggles were in the band. So Trevor Horn was the singer, and Jeff Downes was the keyboard player. It was the drama tour. So no John Anderson and no Rick Wakeman or any of the other keyboard players. So Trevor Horn was the Buggles, and of course he went on to produce like all these great bands over the years. Frankie Goes to Hollywood and loads of other stuff, and produced Yes when not being in the band after. So Only Over Lonely Heart and all that era, he was the producer. But it was the weirdest tour because there was the guys that had Video Killed the Radio Star in Yes. It's bizarre. It's the only tour. I did see Rick Wakeman on his own though, which was fun because he had the full cape and the hat, so that was all right. Yeah, that was a hell of an era, but
you lived a damn good era, dude.
So Darth Skibby was asking best metal singer Dio versus Rob Halford. That is a very interesting question. So Dio versus Halford. I love Halford, but I might almost be tempted to go for Dio in that one.
That's a good answer. I wrote in the chat. My answer is now when they're Dio's voice aged better as both got older. Dio's voice definitely is the one that aged better. But if you had to put them both at their best and their prime, I would say Halford, because just put on the Painkiller album and you hear Metal Meltdown. When you hear Metal Meltdown, Rob Halford does some things that he has not matched since on that album. He has not matched his own performance. I think he struck lightning in a bottle with his performance on Painkiller. Whereas that Between the Hammer and the Anvil, that whole album, like, oh my God, there's. I don't know if he took extra drugs. I don't know what he did. I don't know if he had more men in his life. I don't know if he was getting all the man tang in his life. Whatever it was working for him. It was working.
His throat cleared out every night, was he?
And boy, he let out gold. And even the newest album's still pretty good, even though his voice is kind of aged. They still got good music coming out.
It's hard to keep that style up when you're older. When you just can't fight City Hall and there are changes in the vocal cords. And he's got something like a 5-octave range, or had. It's very difficult to do that when you're, what is he, 60 now or something, or 60s, mid-60s?
60 something, yeah.
It's not anything to do with lack of talent or whatever. The throat physically changes,
He's 70.
Hard. Yeah, and that style, I mean, it takes so much energy. You see it with Roger Daltrey in The Who. He really struggles at certain points now because you can't do those screams.
And it happens.
Can't do the full throat.
Yeah, it's part of aging. Most of them, they lose their voice, and every now and then some guys get lucky and their voices age well. Like, and once again, it's just all part of life. Your voice ages, and like even Plant had issues before he stopped doing Led Zeppelin. Robert Plant couldn't hit a lot of those high notes. It's just, it happens. It's part of life. That's and what are you gonna do?
People have a go at them, but really, it's not something you can do anything about. So.
No, it's amazing that King Diamond can still pull it off. That makes, like, he's obviously an exception. Chuck Billy from Testament, he still sounds great. And then those guys, and that once again, it's hard to do that stuff. So for when they can do it, I totally get it. I'll hold it to them. But then every now and then, it's crazy when we get those freak of nature vocalists who could somehow still do it even at old age, right?
Well,
How do
different
you do
genre,
it?
but I remember going to see Tom Jones once. Guilty
Oh,
pleasure
go
of
on, yeah.
the wife wanted to see him. It was her birthday.
Okay.
And he's always been known for that deep throated, whatever, so to speak. That's what they say. You know, that's the reputation. He was probably in his late 60s, 70s, and he was great. He could hit all the high notes and whatever, and he was fantastic. And he did some really nice bluesy acoustic stuff too, which was quite neat. So some guys are just like they've got a golden throat, you know, but yeah, I mean, he's certainly not belting it out in the sense that a Halford or a Dio was, because they've really got they've got to go above that noise. You know, it's tough to get above that noise. So
Yeah, down with
but Dio, I love Dio. He was great.
Oh, dude, his last album he put out with before he passed on, because when they got that tour, because they weren't allowed to use the name Black Sabbath because Sharon's a petty twat, but so they had to tour under the name Heaven and Hell. So it was Heaven and Hell, aka Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Motorhead, and Testament. 2000,
the Metal Masters.
Yes, the Metal
I
Masters
saw them
tour,
up at Pine Knob.
Yeah,
Great
so
show.
Well, I've been to Pine Knob. I've seen some gigs there. Yeah.
So that you had that tour, and you had their album that they had to put under the Heaven and Hell moniker. It was actually damn good. Like, I tell anyone to look up that album. Seriously, that last Heaven and Hell album before they stopped was freaking awesome.
Heaven and
I
Hell
dare say
it's my favorite Sabbath album. Heaven and Hell.
oh, so good.
Dio just slays it on that one. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
Oh, I
no,
love it.
seriously. If you never listened to it, please do. The album was called The Devil You Know. It came out in 2009. And that album was so good. And I was just like, and no one talked about it because probably a lot of people were expecting it to be called Black Sabbath. It's amazing what happens when you take out the name and people don't recognize it. If that album had come out under the Sabbath name, it would have been huge. It would have been huge. And the people who I did know that knew about it loved it. They're like, holy crap, they still got it. Because obviously had Heaven and Hell, The Mob Rules. And then, of course, there's one more because they did 3 albums originally and then the Heaven and Hell album. So overall, technically 4 albums with Dio on the front and Vinny Appice on the drums as well, because Ward started off and then Appice replaced him.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
It's a great era. Great era. Yeah, Heaven and Hell's one of my favorite albums of all time. It just, I don't know what it was. They just, everything clicked on that one. And the riffs, those riffs are just fucking killer. So Soul Assassin ain't unusual. It's good Tom Jones. It's not unusual. It's like an old joke. The guy goes to the doctor and says, "Doctor, I can't stop singing Delilah." And you know, and he says, "Is that?" He says, "What's wrong with me?" He says, "Well, you've got Tom Jones syndrome." He says, "Is that rare?" He says, "Well, it's not unusual."
Huh.
This is Tom Jones songs for those who don't know.
I see what you did there.
So thank you to Soul Assassin for reminding me of that terrible joke from decades ago. And thanks to everybody in the chat. I mean, you all stuck around, and you've been I've been looking at all your comments. I'm sorry if I haven't highlighted enough of them. I'm still learning how.
No, a lot. The chat has been very interactive. They are mentioning things left and right. I love it.
Good for them, yeah. Thanks, everybody. I love it. You're coming along. My executive producer should be highlighting the chats, but he's just sitting there doing nothing. You can't even see him. Yeah, he's gone. So so we'll certainly have more music chats over the weeks that the show is going. Hopefully, everyone will join in, and feel free to throw in a few suggestions for things we could talk about in future. I know, Nick, you're probably going to run out of time, my friend. How are you doing for time, Nick?
I got like 5 minutes.
Well, in that case, I could cover my last topic because I know you like to talk about fast food and.
Oh yeah,
and food in general. I mean, not just fast food. I know it's food in general.
This will be my next food review, by the way.
Oh, that's just that's like diabetes in a bowl right there. Just type C or whatever it is, diabetes. You should just hand them that sugar and say, eat that sugar now. But yeah, your videos are awesome on the fast food stuff. It really gave me a kick. I even
Thank
did that
you.
one tribute to you, which is probably one of my most watched videos ever, is the one I did in tribute to you. And I might do more, just for stuff that you can't access down. I'll just do
No,
Canadian
please
stuff.
do
But
it.
yeah, I was just curious about some of the worst experiences you may have had. I mean, for you, what was the worst fast food experience you may have suffered?
I don't know if I've ever suffered from anything, but I did try doing a video once on eating the T-Rex burger.
Yeah.
And the T-Rex has 9 patties, and I
Mm.
finished around 7.5 of them, and I was crying while eating the burger.
All right.
And I was, yeah, no, by the time I was getting to the 6th patty, it started getting
Yeah.
painful. So the T-Rex is definitely a very painful experience. Trying to think of what other ones.
Yeah, but even just not for your reviews, but just sometimes you may have gone to a restaurant, like
Oh
and you
yeah.
got something and went,
Oh, I
"What
got
the
one.
fuck is this?"
There's this place called Smorgasbord down in Springfield in
Yeah.
Illinois, and I was in 8th grade, and I remember the food just sucked. And I'm like, man, this place sucks. The food sucks. Even the fork suck. And then also I bent the fork, and I was like, whoa! I just bent the fork. And I'm like, oh crap, that was not meant. I was supposed to just like try. I was just trying to like exaggerate how crappy the place was, and I ended up bending a fork. I'm like, oh no, even the fork sucked literally. Like, oh no.
That's right. You know you're in trouble when even the cutlery stinks and the packaging stinks. You're like, "Oh fuck."
So yeah, Smorgasbord was depressing. That was definitely like that still stands out in my life. Yeah, dude. Back in the day, and when I was in high school, I used to be a duoholic where I used to drink so much Mountain Dew. I used to do this thing called 2-liter Tuesdays, where I drink 2 2-liters on Tuesday. And
Mm.
then on my last Tuesday of my senior year, I had around like 3 or 4 2 liters of Mountain Dew. And that was by like 4th hour. So before noon, I had basically like OD'd on Mountain Dew.
That's the
Like,
gamer's drink of choice. Yes.
yeah, you know how they say like your body's made of water? My body was made simply of Mountain Dew that day.
Which is may have some water content in it somewhere, but it's probably heavy water. It's not real
I
water.
I drank so much Mountain Dew that I got to the point where all I could taste now is the corn syrup. And now since then, 15 years later, all I could taste is the corn syrup. That's how much Dew I did. Like I did so much Dew. I had a locker. I sold Dew from my locker because they stopped selling it
Oh, the
through the
pusher
vending
man.
machine. So I'm like, I need to go against the system. I can't accept this where they stop, selling drinks from the vending machine. So I started going to this
Yeah.
grocery store called Woodman's, and I would buy like Costco size bulk pack of Mountain Dew and start selling it from my locker. People like, hey, you got the stuff? Like, yeah. What
You know that
flavor? Code red.
yeah, you know that in Illinois that's probably still illegal, and that retrospectively they could still nab you for that. This isn't Illinois after all, He's pushing Mountain Dew.
He's pushing Dew on the kids, which
That's
I was
right.
one of the kids. So yeah, I was.
Yeah, so I did find some interesting examples online of fast food failures. So we'll take a quick 5-second look at those and see if you recognize any of these. First of all, we've got this beauty, which I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Now, is the bun too small or is the supposed wiener too long? Is the wiener ever too long? Can it ever be long enough? I don't know.
There's a lot of long weenies out there.
So I've never quite seen. And then what is that mess on it? I mean, it looks like someone's just someone is with some kind of anal discharges.
Oh, I'm actually eating right now.
Yeah. No, here's a good one. This is quality packaging and presentation. It looks like Wendy's, possibly Wendy's. It's hard to say.
Okay, I just remembered one. I just remember a good terrible fast food experience. I used to live in this town called Berwyn, which is what Svengoolie says a lot.
Yeah.
And I lived by this McDonald's, and we asked for like a bunch of food. I can't remember the specifics of it, but I opened the bag when I got home. It was just a bunch of napkins.
Oh God.
That's it. No food at all.
Oh, I've
No
had that
food
happen to
at
me
all.
too. You know, you've got takeout
Mm.
and they've missed half of it, or it's not there, or it's
It's worse when you go all the way home.
yeah.
And
And
then you're
now,
like, oh crap! Came home. I should have looked right away.
yeah, now of course you can get stuff delivered. So if that happens, they might re-deliver to you. But then you physically went in those days to get shit. And by the time you got home, if it was wrong, you're like, oh, I can't be arsed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this one's an interesting.
This is why your job is not worth $15 an hour.
That's right. Yes, it's not worth 15 cents an hour if you can't do that. This I'm not sure what this is.
Oh my God!
I think the thing underneath should be in the middle. I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
and
they literally threw it together.
yeah, hang on. this is the packaging is the filling now. The filling becomes the packaging becomes the filling.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I think YetiCast is telling me everything is being repeated.
I don't.
Is everybody else having an audio problem? I'm not hearing it here, but
I'm not hearing anything over here either.
No,
it could be
everything sounds good to me.
He's just blind drunk as usual, but put down the drugs, Yeti.
Maybe he opened it in two different tabs at the same time.
Oh no, he could be right. I'm not saying he isn't right. Just let me share that again, just in case. System audio is off. Oh, I might be suffering a computer meltdown because no, Zax has not got a problem. Anyway, let's see what else we have. We've got a handful more. I know while we've got time. That one looks okay. There's nothing wrong with that one.
No, that looks good.
Something, yeah. See, that makes me hungry.
Good. Yeah, that looks halfway good.
Oh, there we go. Is that good or isn't it good? I don't know what that is.
A frozen yogurt sandwich?
I'll have some frozen yogurt on my bun, please. It could be hand cream or something.
People will ask for something like that.
This is a good one. This is raw. Now, you think that's faked?
No.
Oh, PFK. That must be in Quebec or France. That's Française.
KFC.
Yeah.
Oof. No, it just looks like someone was impatient.
Oh, God.
Or they were paying attention to the wrong timer.
Yeah. I mean, he's actually taken a bite out of it. Probably more than one. I mean, this is Quebec after all, so they'll do anything. But yeah. And then there's do you want your bun on the side, or would you like
bun on the side? Bun on the side.
Nothing wrong with that one, I don't think. That one looks okay.
What is that?
I don't think that one's a fail. It looks, although it is a large mess of
mess.
It looks like a prawn cocktail. Looks like prawn cocktail.
I don't know what the hell that is. It looks horrendous. That looks. It's all right.
It's okay.
It's all right.
Okay.
It's kind of there.
It's a bit weird. Oh, there we go. There's a classic. It's a penis. It's that's the famous Drew burger. Which is
that looks so depressing.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then what the fuck is that? It's a taco-less taco.
Ugh, that is wow. That's nasty.
Yeah. So you've never seen anything like that, though.
Nope.
Oh, they're raw too.
Ugh.
So it's a world there. This. I'm putting everybody off their tea, off their supper, but
no, this is funny. Only ketchup, only cheese. Go back and look at the receipt on that. They took that very literally. Only ketchup, only cheese. So they kind of listen. Yeah, no patty.
You can't fault them for getting the order correct, can you?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. The Lorena Bobbitt meal. That was the one back. That was the penis one. The Lorena Bobbitt. Yeah.
Oh,
this is the vegan burger. The vegan burger. I don't know what that is. That's.
Okay.
Okay.
The bun rearrangement.
Ooh, those were
Again,
uncooked potatoes.
that one looks like a disease.
Yeah.
Scrofula. That's a good name. Yeah. And again, the cheese has missed the point, and this is
Oh.
horrendous.
Oh.
This is like an open wound.
Oh.
Perhaps some kind of reassignment surgery.
Wow, that is horrendous to look at.
I mean, it looks like a sort of fetus of a hamster stripped. I don't know. That is weird. And that one's not value for money.
Oh God, yeah, it's.
Oh. These are awesome. Denny, yeah. Oh, so Doc Valiant says, "Who's been drunk and gone to Denny's or IHOP?" That's absolutely what I do. If I'm somewhere where there's a Denny's and I've been out all night, if it's still open at 4 a.m., that's where I'll head and just say put everything on a plate. I don't care where it is. Yeah, that's a nacho burger. That's just a close up of. Oh, well, there you go. There's another vegan special.
Just looks like a masterpiece.
There's things growing from my meal. Last one.
All right.
Good. Anyway, yes, fast food fails. Always. I have a whole another series of those, but I'll save them for another time.
Yes.
Cool, but yes, I do appreciate everything you do, sir. And
my pleasure.
It's and thank you very much for joining me today. I think you've got another show to go to. Would you like to promote that and other things? And we'll wrap up in a few minutes if you're needing to go.
No, I will gladly promote. And hey, thankful to come on here. This is fun, and we will definitely do a follow up, and we'll definitely make it very dominantly focused on music. So yeah, I appreciate you inviting me. This is fun, and follow up will be great. But that all said, the chat has been awesome too. Thank you guys. I have a channel. Darius Munchausen posted it in the chat, and tomorrow night, Toxic Tuesday, we are doing Demolition Man. Also, I'll be reviewing this cereal soon. I also have a Mickey Mouse rant coming soon. Also, Comics Division, We Yell Apart Cars. That is going to be tonight at 9 p.m. Central Time. We will see you there, and please show up for that. Show up for Toxic Tuesday. Subscribe to That 70s Rock Fan, by the way. Thank you, guys. This has been fun, and I'll see you in a few hours. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not throwing you out, Nick. You were welcome to stay, but I know you're.
I gotta go, but
something you got to get to. So I do appreciate.
Yeah.
I'll just play out some music before you go. Thank you again for joining my friend. I really appreciate it, Darius. If you want to stick around for a few minutes, we'll just do a few.
Is this kicking me on the way out, please?
Here's the music for you. Rock and roll.
Rock and roll, indeed. All right, thank you, man.
Thanks,
appreciate
brother.
it. And
I appreciate
thank
you coming
later,
in.
Darius. Yeah, dude, we'll
Later,
do this
Nick.
again soon. All right.
See you soon, buddy.
Fantastic.
Take care.
Bye,
Thanks.
guys. Bye, chat.
Cheers, brother. Bye. Yeah, what a man. A man amongst men. A gentleman. A gentleman with relish. Gentleman's relish.
Some men
guys,
are a man's men. That's a man's man.
He is a manly man. Yes, great. Yeah, please everybody subscribe to Nick. Definitely watch tomorrow night, Demolition Man on Toxic Tuesdays. It will be a blast. That is going to be one MFering episode. It's what a movie. But yeah, Nick's a great guy. As I say, he has been an inspiration to me in the way he's organically building his channel. He's doing good things. The Toxic Tuesday thing, he's doing the comic stuff brilliantly. And for that variety of content, which I love. So yeah, good chap. Excellent gentleman.
I've been watching Nick since I first started watching live streams.
Indeed, me too. Yes. So he deserves another piece of music, I think. Wee Angus. You know, those guys are really Scottish. They claim they're Australian, but they were born and brought up in Scotland. It's like the Bee
Ah.
Gees. They're from Manchester. They're not really Australian. They can have the Bee Gees, of course, but the
The
Aussies
Bee Gees
can
aren't
have-
American?
No, the Bee Gees are English. They were born and brought up in Manchester in England, and then when they were a certain age, their parents moved to Australia. So they actually started their career in Australia, and then they moved back to Britain in the 60s to have some start having hits in the 60s, long before Staying Alive and all that disco stuff. They were having hit singles.
Didn't they used to be a folk
Words.
band?
They did sort of kind of quieter acoustic stuff, yeah, and then they moved into more sort of mellow pop, and then slightly quasi prog, and then when they realised their career was almost over, they decided to get the spandex on, and they they boogied, and with the old, because you wouldn't imagine them as being particularly funky, but it worked, you know. I mean, I've it's not my cup of tea necessarily, but there's the odd song or two that's okay, like Words and 60s stuff. Some of it's okay. But yeah, they were actually from Manchester, England. Not American, not Australian. But the Australians kind of adopted them a bit. But AC/DC, the Young Brothers, and not just Angus and Malcolm, but Vanda, their older brother, moved when they were like teenagers almost to Australia. And yes, they started their career there and they were very popular in Australia, but they're really Scottish, as was Bon Scott, born and brought up in Scotland as a kid. But so we kind of semi-adopt them in Scotland as kind of Scottish, you know. Now, their older brother, who was their producer for many years, was in a band called the Easy Beats in the 60s, who had a few hits. And then another band, quirky band, in the 70s I quite liked. He had a band called Flash in the Pan, who were quite a quirky little pop band that I liked. So he was kind of a big mover Vanda in the Australian music scene, if you want to call it that. So anyway, what do I know? I'm just rambling. I'm just a fan. So I'm no expert. There should be a warning at the bottom.
What?
I'm no
You are the expert.
No, I'm not. I'm certainly not an expert. So, so what have you got coming up soon, my friend? What's your on your plate?
Well, in about an hour, I'll be celebrating 300 subscribers on my channel
Good.
at long
man.
last. It took a lot longer to get to
Congratulations,
300 than 200, but no.
Well done
And
to
it'll
you,
be
my
good to
friend.
get. Well, thank you. And, you helped because you come on all the time.
It's all me.
Yeah, if I check the analytics, I bet all the viewers go up when you show up.
As I say, when I talk about my subs, it's hard work creating 250 channels, you know. 250 accounts to sub to people. Yeah. So what number are you specifically at right now? So have you've hit the 300?
I think I hit
Oh.
300 last
Shit.
Monday before I came
Cool.
on your show, but then I wasn't feeling very good. I've
Right.
been kind of sick for a couple weeks.
I know. I heard you sounded a bit rough a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going through symptoms one at a time. So for like
Yeah.
3 weeks, I was not feeling
Just
well, but
trying
it was
them
something
on.
different.
You're trying them out. I'll try this symptom
Yeah.
out. I'll try that one out. You know. Oh, you mentioned 300. I'm sorry to do this, mate. I'm not stealing your thunder, and I totally well done on getting to 300. I just looked at my analytics. 300 today during this show. I have hit 300
Sweet.
subscribers.
Did you go up 100 in a week?
Yep, I've gone
Wow.
absolutely rocketed up in the last couple of weeks. During the show as we were speaking, I hit 300. So thank you to everyone that subscribed. I totally appreciate it. I'm not, as I say, I'm no expert. I'm no pundit. I'm just a guy who likes to come on and chat to people. And I like a bit of this and I like a bit of that. So for 300 people to take the time to subscribe and for you guys to take the time to watch and be part of this fellowship that we're all in, I really appreciate that. Thank you. And Darius, that is also down to you, mate. You've been a big part of this with me going through this, so thank you. Thank you for your support.
Well, hey, you're my
He's gone.
dude.
Yeah,
Been together from the
We're
beginning.
the bald and the beautiful. So yeah, Darius, looking forward to that. Yeah, you're 300. It's going to be awesome. You're starting at in about an hour?
Yeah, I got it scheduled for 8:05.
Yeah. I will try and, you're going to think you'll be going for a while?
Well, I
Yeah.
always say I don't want to, because I want to watch Comics Division. But then everyone comes on and we have such a good time. I gotta,
Right.
you know.
Well,
Sometimes I go 10 hours.
Yeah, well, exactly. I will certainly do my best to get there later, mate. I got some stuff I got to go do now, but I'll be there later on if you're still going. I hope so, anyway.
For
Cool.
sure.
So
Well, you're always welcome.
oh no, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. So I think at this point, we will tuck and roll. Oh, that's somebody else's show. This is talk and roll. We will wrap it up. It's the wonderful Snow Rub. Thank you, everybody, for joining into this stream. Grant, Gregory, yeah, thanks for your congrats, buddy. You've been a big part of this too. Darth, Scipio, Cam. We got Captain Spock, who's a wonderful, wonderful guy. If you want a mind-bending, intelligent conversation about topics, you gotta go look at the Captain. You want to talk about the meaning of life, about the universe, about Blade Runner, or whether Marty McFly is in Timeline A or B, that's the channel you got to go to, because totally mind-bending conversations there. Raquel, Cosmic Squirrel, buddy, good to see you. Gomer Kyle, Doc Valiant, Pope Metallicus, who's going to be doing some stuff, album reviews this week, which I'm looking forward to. That'll be awesome. Who else have we seen in today's chat? So I apologies if I miss anybody. Soul Assassin. We've had Rough Girl. We've got Zax. We've had LDG. Good man. The lovely Sherry. Yeah. If I've forgotten anyone, YetiCast, if I have forgotten anybody, you have my sincere apologies. But thank you for joining us today, Darius, my friend. Thank you for joining me as usual. You know you've always got the open invite to come on and be my silent executive producer who doesn't really produce, but you're like my crutch.
Whatever it is I do, it's important, right?
Not my crotch, my crutch. It's but yeah, you're doing a good job, buddy, and congratulations again. Yeah, I've got to wrap it up. So thanks everyone for joining. If I had forgotten anybody, didn't forget YetiCast, I hope. Yeah, thanks for joining me. It's been a blast. Thanks to Nick. I will see you all in the chats later, somewhere, no doubt. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow night on Toxic Tuesday. Friday night, Foulball Productions, MFR Cocktail Lounge, and hopefully I'll be slipping another little video out this week. This time I think it'll be about some of my collectible vinyl, which I love. I love showing my collectible bits off, as the actress said to the bishop. So I would like to wish you all adieu. Have a good night. Keep on rocking. And I'll see you all soon. Take care, and thanks, Darius, buddy.
Thank you.
Let's hit it.